Bill O'Reilly had on Pastor Jeffress to his show to talk about the rise of the Antichrist. Yes, I'm not kidding you. Apparently this was a topic of discussion to be brought up on a news show. Listen to some of this lunacy.
Personal story segment tonight, new book called Perfect Ending, Why Your Eternal Future Matters Today. In the book, which is out tomorrow, Pastor Robert Jeffress says, President Obama's policies have some interaction with the Bible. With us now is the pastor. All right, the first issue is Obamacare. How does that have biblical implications?
What I'm saying in the book, Bill, is that there's going to be a future world dictator before Christ returns who's going to usurp people's personal feelings, rights. He's not only going to do that, he's going to wage war against God's people. He's going to change God's laws, and he's going to do it without any opposition. And my question was, how is he going to be able to pull that off? And my thesis is people will have been conditioned long before the Antichrist comes to accept governmental overreach. And that's what you're seeing with President Obama.
Okay. Now, for those who don't know the Bible, this is based on what? Walk us through how you reached that conclusion that there's going to be a powerful leader, not necessarily in the United States, right?
That's right.
It could be anyone.
Right.
Who's then going to kind of galvanize the world in warfare against religious people, all right? Now, how did you arrive at that conclusion?
Well, that's been the historic belief of the church for 2,000 years.
Which church?
The Christian church. Even Jews look forward to it. In Daniel chapter 7, they believe that there is going to be a world dictator. Daniel chapter 7 in the Old Testament talks about it. Revelation chapter 13 in the Bible talks about it as well. And as you pointed out, Bill, he's not only going to usurp people's personal freedoms, he's going to wage war against God's own people. He's going to seek to change God's moral law, according to Daniel 7:25.
Now, we had that to some extent, a pretty vivid extent, in World War II.
Yes.
With Hitler and the Nazis.
Yes.
And then we had it on a lesser extent with Stalin and the communists. Both ideologies tried to wipe out Christian beliefs and philosophies. So this is going to be like that, worse than that?
It's going to be worse than that. And I want to be clear to say to the folks, I'm not saying President Obama is the Antichrist. In fact, I'm sure he's not, because the Antichrist is going to have higher poll numbers, according to the Bible, at least at the beginning. But I believe he is conditioning people to accept governmental overreach, which they will finally give into when this final dictator comes, whether that's 10 years from now or 1,000 years from now.
Obama is conditioning people for the return of the Antichrist. This is Fox News Channel. News. Oh my God, man. This drives me nuts. This drives me nuts. I mean, I was thinking about it earlier. Religion is basically the only subject where you can totally make shit up and just assert that it's correct and nobody can challenge you on your credentials. I mean, think about it. Seriously think about it. Any other field, medicine, can you just make something up at medicine? No, you get tested and they find out if you're a quack and then you're ostracized from the medicinal community. Science, same thing. If you try publishing a paper that's factually incorrect, you'll get put through the ringer and you'll be ostracized. Any other academic, thing, sociology, sociologists, when they conduct studies, they have rules and regulations and systems of peer review. Mathematics, the answer is the answer. There's no interpretation. There's no opinion allowed, right? This is the only area where you could just fucking make shit up and just assert, you can't tell me I'm wrong because it's my religious belief. So this guy writes a whole book saying, oh yeah, the Antichrist is going to come back in the form of a dictator, and the dictator is going to do X, Y, and Z, and Obama's laying the foundation for the dictator to come back. And where the fuck are you getting any of this information? And if you're getting it from some higher power, some angel or some god, do you have any evidence of it? And they never have any evidence of it. They say, oh, no, you got to take my word for it, man. I'm telling you, I got a direct line. Me and that guy upstairs, we're close. We watch football on Sundays. Now, look, just to throw out a couple more things here. I don't even want to waste my time responding to this garbage, but I love how, did you notice the way O'Reilly set up the interview? He's like, okay, so you wrote this book about the Antichrist and whatnot coming back and doing all this stuff. How does this relate to Obamacare? So O'Reilly went right to his, pet issue, how much he hates Obamacare. So he just tries to smear Obamacare with anything, even by using the idea of the Antichrist with it. Because, of course, I don't know if you guys know this, here's what Jesus wasn't in favor of: universal health care. That's a good question for these guys. Who would Jesus deny healthcare to? Would Jesus like the capitalist system we set up where 45,000 people died every year because they don't have access to basic care, where medical bills was the #1 cause of bankruptcy, where 40+ million people were uninsured? Jesus would have liked that system? Is that what your contention is, Bill O'Reilly? These guys they're just beyond ridiculous. And then just one more thing that I have to correct, because I love how I'm saying that like the entire segment doesn't need to be corrected. But just one extra egregious lie that stuck out. O'Reilly says, yeah, we saw that with Stalin and Hitler and the Nazis. They tried to wipe out Christians. Hitler and the Nazis were Christian, you ignorant asshole. Have you read no history? In fact, Hitler and the SS and the Gestapo and the Nazis, they went around and shut down all secular institutions. All secular institutions in Germany were shut down. They wore belt buckles that said, God is with us. It said, Gott mit uns. God is with us. They were Christians. They were Christians. Oh, God.